Hey team, welcome to day 3 of our 40 days of AWS class. Today we're gonna learn how to create IAM policies, IAM roles, and what is trust policies, and how we can use them, how we can assign the policies to the users and roles to the services. And the difference among the policy and role is policies are for IAM users and the role is for that AWS services, right? So how to create a policies, we need to go to IAM and click on policies. Under that you will see there is a predefined policies which are managed policies by AWS. So this is AWS managed policy, but yeah, if you want to assign, you can assign these, and if you want to create your own, you can also create your own policy, that is customer managed policies. And there is inline policies as well, and right, we can create inline policy which is directly associated with the users. So in this policy you will see there is this are the JSON document, so you can copy your JSON document for this policy here. But yeah, we're gonna create our policy. To create, we just need to click on create policy, and once you click on create policy, AWS will give you prompt to create a policy, right? So to create policy, we have two ways to create policy. One is visual way, we can use a visual prompt and create that. Another is JSON. So first we're gonna learn how to create a policy using visual editor, and then we'll move it to a JSON one as well. Okay, so for visual, you just need to select on what service you want to give the permission on, and then you have to select the action, which actions to be allowed. You got the multiple option, what are all the actions available for that service, like for the list, read, write, and other function as well, like tagging and the permission management, everything is there. So you can select any function from that list depending upon your need. And yeah, we generally prefer to have a least permission for any policy which is assigned to be any user, and you should always give a least permission to maintain that security concerns and everything is there. So yeah, it's good to have with the least policy to go with, right? So yeah, you can select whatever the permission you want to give. Like for S3 generally we give put object, get objects to read out, right? And then there is a other permission, so we're gonna select those permissions here, right? Once we're done with assigning permission, you can go and select the resources. So if you have specific resource, you can go and click on specific resource. If you have if you want to assign it to all, you can select all resources, but for specific you have to add ARN for that resources. ARN is Amazon resource name, so if you can click on that ARN and search for that. If you have any resources, you can select that, but since I don't have any resources, so I'm just selecting any, and I just click on ARN. So it allow me to add this for all the buckets in my account, and then similarly I have to do it for all the objects as well. If you want to go for specific bucket, you can select specific, otherwise you can select any, and it will work for all the objects in any bucket. Okay, and next is the conditions. If you want to add some condition, you can add condition. There is a like few are that mostly used, but yeah, if you want to select some condition, you can select that. Here I'm just testing it with some AWS username, so that if username is specific username, can only upload the objects or create those buckets and upload those objects to those buckets, right? So yeah, so that's how you can add condition, but it's optional. If you want, you can go with that, or if you don't want to go with that, you can skip that part. Okay, and once you have set with all these permissions, you can click on next. Yeah, so here you have to provide your policy name. Make sure there is no space and special character. So yeah, so I'm just giving it a name of demo something S3, right? Yeah, so you have to give the description. So I'm giving that this policy is for our learning purpose or demo purpose. So yeah, we are good with that. So yeah, these details are mandatory here, so we have to pass on those details so that those gonna use this permission, they know what these permissions are, right? So you can see that validate what actions you have performed, and then once you are done with that, you just click on create policy. Once you click this policy got created in this policies page. You can search out that policy by typing the name, And yes, if you want to see what JSON documentation for that, you can click on plus sign and you see all the JSON document here, right? So here we have a statement which is given nothing but that your statement array. It's an array of individual permission statements, and what action you are allowing, like you are allowing put object, so it is in action, and for effect it is allows or denied for that service. And then we have all these parameters here. So this is also, you get that effects and policies which you are assigning, and the resource, to which resource that permission or the action is apply, and the condition, specify condition that must be met for the policy to apply, right? So yeah, this is brief of JSON documentation here. What all that statements available here in this documentation. Okay, so you want to copy, you can copy this here as well, and if I want to edit this, you can click on edit. If you want to add more stuff into that permission, you can add here as well using this. So yeah, this is how you can make changes here if you want to make change here, or yeah. So I'm going to click on visual. You can go here, go to that permission which is assigned to what we have created in our policy, right? So if you want to add some more feature here, you can add those feature, and by clicking on add it and just giving that. So yeah, you just expand that way, whatever that permission you want to grant, just select that permission. Okay, and once you are done with that selection of those permission, you gonna click next, and it would be perfectly up and running fine. Yeah, for this purpose you can select any here and just click on next. Yeah, so this new permission added here, you can click on save changes. There you can see that your policy has been updated. Okay, so this is how we can make changes to your existing policies as well. Yeah, let's go back to the policy and see. We'll search for all the policies created here. So if you want to create, now we're gonna learn how to create it through JSON. So you can click on JSON, and you can even in JSON it gives the prompt you to select the services from here, right? So you can select service like S3. For that I'm giving you the full access just for you, the learning purpose, how we can create it. And for all the resources you can select specific resource, but if you want to select, or you can select all resources, right? So this is, you can see that this all policies are already been selected, right? So if you want to add condition, you can add, or if you want to skip, you can skip the condition. And this is see this way you can create the JSON. And if you have existing JSON with you, you can copy paste your JSON file here like I did, and you can click on next. So it will give you it will create that policy with respect to your JSON file, if you have JSON file available with you. Okay, so you can click, and you have to give the same way, you have to give the name and the description to that, so that you know what policy is created for what purpose. So that description is really helpful, and it's good to have that. Okay, so once you're done with writing description, you just need to click on create policy, but before that you just validate how much actions you have been allowed among for the all action available. You can click on create policy and see, and you go into that and you search for it. You will be able to see the policy which you have created. Yeah, you can see that this you have created those two policies. One is user visual and one is for using JSON. But if you can expand on the plus sign, you will see the JSON documentation for both the policies, which are created in two different ways. Okay, now we're gonna learn how we can attach these policy to users. For that, you go user and click on that user, and then click on add permissions. Once you click on add permission, you will go to the permissions where we have AWS, all the permissions there, customer manage or AWS manage. You can select the permissions which you have created, and you can see there's a customer manage. Click next and add permissions. So yeah, this how you can add permissions, and you can also create an inline policy for the user and give that permission to user. So for that, just click on add permission, and online you have inline permissions. For that, you can use Visual Editor or JSON. So for that, let me create using JSON one. So since I have already created one policy, so I pasted here. So you can see that I am giving a star permissions, which means all permissions. So it's giving me a security warning. But yeah, for now, just ignoring that and moving to next. And yeah, now you have to give your, for inline policy also, you have to give details here, like what's the name of that policy and everything. And since we are creating inline policy, so it's gonna assign directly to users. You are not able to see that in that permission there if you are not assigning it, but yeah, it directly get assigned. You can see that it is assigned, and if you want to search for that permission here, you will not be able to see that here because we already assigned that permission, or it's directly assigned to that user when we create inline, and you can see inline is written in that permissions there, right? So that's how you can differentiate which are the inline policy, what are the directly attached policies, right? So you can check that. All we have for permissions here for now, and yeah, now we're gonna learn about roles, what are roles and how we can make use of that. Okay, so for that roles, you can go to that IAM and click on roles. To create roles, you can click on create role, and yeah, this is a plane where you can see all the roles created, and you can see and you can assign the roles required for any service. So yeah, to create, just click on create role, and you will see there's a different trusted entity types to create roles. For one is for AWS service, then we have AWS accounts, like if you want to give some other third-party account to access to your account using roles, you can give that. And then next we have SAML 2.0 and we have custom trust policies as well. So to assign these policies, you have to create a role for the specific service in AWS, like we have EC2, ECS, other services. So you have to select the services first, and then you have to assign a policies to that service to perform your action on behalf of you. Okay. So yeah, here I'm going to select EKS for one of the role, and for also I'm going to select EC2 as well. So once I select EC2, it gives me that it's allow me to create a role for that EC2 services, and EC2 service can perform that action which is there in our IAM policy, which I'm going to attach to that role. So for testing purpose, I'm giving administration access to that, but as I already said, go with the least permissions, right? So you just click on next, and you can see that here we have to give that name to that role. Okay, so just for which I'm giving a EC2 demo role here, and then you can see there is a trust policy, which is which means that EC2 will assume that role. And principally you can see that EC2 Amazon.com, right? So this EC2 service assumes that role and perform the action which is there in that policies, right? So click on create role. Yeah, it takes a couple of seconds, and you can see that role is created. If you want to check that role, you can go and check those roles. Yeah, with this demo ECS I have created in another demo. So yeah, that's there. You can see that role as well. So for that EC or S role, we have assigned this policy to that ECS role. But yeah, for now we have created EC2 role, demo EC2 role for our testing purpose. So we're gonna see how we can assign this role to our EC2 service. Okay, so then this role is created for EC2. You will be able to see that role when we are going to create any EC2 instance. And once we're going to create that EC2 instance, you will see that role in IAM instance profile of that EC2 instance, right? So for this demo purpose, I'm going to create an I'm not going to create, but I'm just demo you how we can create instance, and I'll show you where we got that prompt to select that role. Okay, so for that, let me click on launch instance. Yeah, we're gonna select detail for our EC2 instance. Yeah, let me quickly fill out all the details. Now we're going to advanced, and here in advanced you will see IAM instance profile. If you select that, you will see EC2 demo role is appear here, right? So since this role is for EC2 service, so the only role available. So yeah, if you click on drop down, you will see that role. Okay, and this is how you can assign EC2 role to your EC2 instance, and your EC2 instance is able to perform all the activities which is permitted to this role by IAM policy, right? And this is our trust policy by which this role is able to, or your EC2 instance is able to trust that service to perform that action which is mentioned in your policy. Okay, so yeah team, this is all we have for day 3 in our 40 day of AWS class. I hope you have learned enjoying IAM policies and roles and make and how we can make use of IAM policies and roles, right? Roles is for services and IAM policies are for the users, right? Thank you team, thanks for watching today, and if you have any doubt or any question or any feedback, please do share it in the comments. Thanks for watching again.